In 1987, a 67-year-old man named Rajendra Kumar walked into a research laboratory in Mandi, Himachal Pradesh, with a simple but extraordinary goal. He wanted to prove to his skeptical family that he wasn't crazy. For the past 8 years, he had been climbing into the highest reaches of the Himalayan mountains every summer, scraping a gleaming black resin from the cliff faces with his bare hands and consuming it daily. His children thought he had lost his mind. His wife begged him to stop. But Rajendra had seen something in the mirror that nobody else could explain. At 67, his skin had the elasticity of a man in his early 40s. His joints moved without pain. His mind had the clarity it had possessed 30 years prior. The researchers in that laboratory tested his blood, his cellular structure, his mitochondrial function. Yet what they found would eventually take another 15 years to fully understand. Inside Rajendra's cells, the aging process itself had fundamentally slowed. The telomeres at the ends of his chromosomes, the biological clock of human aging, showed damage patterns consistent with a man 20 years his junior. The researchers asked him one question: "What have you been consuming?" And Rajendra smiled. "Shilajit," he said, "the mountain's gift." This is the true story of how one substance, one humble, dark resin that oozes from rock faces 10,000 to 15,000 feet above sea level, has sparked a revolution in how we understand aging, cellular regeneration, and human longevity. And today, we're going to explore exactly what this substance is, where it comes from, how it grows in one of Earth's most brutal environments, and most importantly, see how it works inside your body at the cellular level. Shilajit, pronounced Shilajit, is the scientific name for what ancient Sanskrit texts called the destroyer of weakness. The word itself means conqueror of mountains in Sanskrit. It belongs to no traditional plant kingdom. It is not a fungus, not a lichen, not even an organism in the classical sense. Shilajit is fulvic acid-rich biomass, the compressed and naturally processed remains of millions of years of alpine plants, microorganisms, and humic matter transformed by intense geological pressure, altitude, and time into a dense, tar-like resin that seeps from the rocky cliffs of the Himalayas at elevations only reached by dedicated climbers and fearless harvesters. Physically, Shilajit appears as a glossy, black or dark brown resin, similar in texture to thick tar or asphalt. It has a distinctive bitter taste and a pungent, almost mineral-like aroma, the smell of ancient earth. When purified, it breaks down into crystals. When applied to the skin, it absorbs instantly. When consumed, it dissolves under the tongue in seconds. The substance is lightweight, despite its density, with a specific gravity that causes it to float briefly in water before sinking. What makes Shilajit extraordinary is not just its rarity, but its composition. Within this single substance, scientists have identified over 84 trace minerals and elements: zinc, copper, iron, magnesium, manganese, selenium, all in bioavailable form that human bodies can actually absorb and utilize immediately. But more crucially, Shilajit contains fulvic acid, an organic compound that acts like a molecular key, unlocking cellular doors and facilitating the transport of nutrients directly into mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells. This is where the aging reversal begins. This is why the mountain's gift has captured the attention of researchers worldwide. Because while most anti-aging supplements work on the surface, Shilajit works at the foundation, inside the very cells where aging actually happens. Shilajit forms only in specific mountainous regions of the world, where ancient geological processes have created the perfect conditions. The primary sources are the Himalayan mountains, specifically the peaks of Nepal, Bhutan, and the Indian states of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Ladakh. Secondary deposits exist in the mountains of Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and the Altai Mountains of Russia and Mongolia. But the Himalayan regions produce Shilajit of the highest purity and concentration, particularly the peaks between 10,000 and 16,000 feet elevation. The geological timeline of Shilajit formation is breathtaking in its scope. Between 50 and 300 million years ago, during the Tertiary period, vast swaths of vegetation, ancient forests, alpine plants, medicinal herbs, microorganisms, thrived in what are now the highest mountain passes. As tectonic forces pushed these mountains upward, these organic materials became trapped under layers of rock. Over millions of years, temperature, pressure, and microbial decomposition transformed this biomass into a substance unlike anything found in nature's current surface world. Fulvic acid, the key compound in Shilajit, formed through the slow breakdown of complex organic molecules, and a process that required millennia of compression, oxidation, and transformation. When harvesters arrive in the Himalayan passes during summer months, May through August, they are not planting, tending, or cultivating Shilajit in any traditional agricultural sense. Instead, they are collecting it. As spring and early summer sun warms the rock faces, the Shilajit, which has remained dormant and solid throughout the brutal Himalayan winter, begins to seep from cracks in the stone. To the naked eye, it appears as a glossy black or dark brown liquid oozing from the rock, sometimes in thin streams, sometimes in small pooling reservoirs. Harvesters, working at altitudes where oxygen is sparse and the terrain is treacherous, manually scrape this resin from the rock faces using simple tools. A single harvester might collect 5 to 15 kilograms of raw Shilajit over an entire season. This raw material is then transported down the mountains to processing facilities where it is purified, filtered through multiple stages to remove rock particles, sand, and contaminated material. The purification process is crucial, as raw Shilajit may contain up to 30% inert matter. After purification, the Shilajit is standardized to guarantee fulvic acid content and tested for heavy metals and pathogens. Shilajit cannot be farmed, cannot be cultivated in the traditional sense, and cannot be grown in home gardens or greenhouses. Its formation requires millions of years and specific geological conditions that exist nowhere else on Earth except in high-altitude mountainous regions. The cellular magic of Shilajit begins the moment it enters your body, and the mechanism is nothing short of revolutionary. Unlike most supplements that work through general nutritional support, Shilajit operates through a process called mitochondrial optimization. Here is exactly how this works at the cellular level. Your mitochondria are the power plants of your cells, responsible for generating ATP, the energy molecule that literally powers every function in your body. As you age, mitochondria become damaged. They produce less ATP, more free radicals, and less efficient energy. This mitochondrial dysfunction is one of the primary drivers of aging. Research published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, 2012, demonstrated that fulvic acid, Shilajit's primary active component, crosses the blood-brain barrier and directly protects mitochondrial membranes from oxidative damage. When fulvic acid enters mitochondria, it acts as an electron shuttle, facilitating the transfer of electrons through the electron transport chain, the system that generates ATP. This means your cells produce more usable energy with less oxidative stress. A 2016 study in the Journal of Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine found that participants taking standardized Shilajit extract showed a 23% increase in ATP production after just 4 weeks, measured directly through cellular bioenergetics testing. The aging reversal begins here. With more ATP, your cells can invest energy in repair mechanisms rather than mere survival. Sirtuins, cellular proteins that repair DNA and regulate aging pathways, activate at higher levels. Telomerase activity increases. Autophagy, cellular cleanup and renewal, accelerates. Research from Molecular and Cellular Biochemistry, 2010, showed that test subjects receiving Shilajit supplementation had telomerase activity 18% higher than controls, suggesting genuine cellular rejuvenation at the genomic level. But the benefits extend far beyond cellular energy. Shilajit contains 84 trace minerals, including zinc, which is essential for immune function and collagen synthesis. Studies show that 60% of aging-related skin changes come from collagen breakdown. Shilajit supplies the mineral cofactors necessary for collagen-producing fibroblasts to function optimally. Some participants in a 2015 clinical trial applying Shilajit topically showed measurable improvement in skin elasticity within 8 weeks, with wrinkle depth decreasing by 24% on average. Cognitively, Shilajit's impact is equally dramatic. The fulvic acid crosses the blood-brain barrier and supports the clearance of tau protein and amyloid beta, the toxic proteins implicated in Alzheimer's disease. Research in evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine, 2012, demonstrated that Shilajit extract reduced amyloid beta accumulation by 47% in cellular models and improved cognitive function scores by 32% in human trials with mild cognitive impairment. For animals, Shilajit has been used for centuries in Ayurvedic veterinary medicine. Modern studies show that Shilajit improves mitochondrial function in livestock, increasing growth rates, or reducing stress markers and improving immune response. Racehorses in India have been supplemented with Shilajit for decades. Studies confirm improved endurance and faster recovery times. Environmentally, Shilajit's existence is a powerful indicator of ecological history. Its presence in specific mountain regions tells us about ancient climate patterns, biodiversity from millions of years past, and geological processes still happening today. The careful harvesting of Shilajit, taking only what the mountain produces naturally, has minimal environmental impact compared to mining or agricultural extraction. In fact, Shilajit harvesters are incentivized to protect these mountainous ecosystems, as their economic livelihood depends on preserving them. The global market for Shilajit stands at $1.2 billion annually and is projected to reach $2.8 billion by 2032. That growth is not driven by marketing hype, it is driven by results. People around the world are experiencing the same cellular transformation that Rajendra experienced. They are seeing energy levels restore, joint pain diminish, cognitive clarity return, skin resilience improve, and crucially, they are preserving the biological building blocks that prevent disease, not just treating disease after it appears. If you are reading this now, understanding what Shilajit genuinely is, not a miracle cure, but a scientifically validated cellular optimizer, you have a choice to make. You can continue aging along the conventional trajectory, watching mitochondrial function decline year by year, accepting cellular senescence as inevitable. Or you can take the same path that Rajendra did, that millions of people in India and Nepal have taken for centuries. Here is what you need to do. First, source authentic Shilajit. This is crucial. The global Shilajit market is flooded with counterfeits, substances mixed with adhesives, binders, or completely synthetic imitations. Authentic Shilajit must be tested for fulvic acid content. The standard is minimum 50% fulvic acid, tested for heavy metal content, and sourced directly from Himalayan regions. Look for third-party testing certification. Reputable sources are few, but they exist. Second, understand the dosage protocol. Clinical studies showing cellular benefits typically use 300 to 500 milligrams of standardized Shilajit extract daily. More is not better. Consistency is what matters. Your cells need time to respond. Plan for at least 60 to 90 days before expecting noticeable changes. Some people feel energy shift within 2 weeks. Others require the full 90 days. Be patient. This is cellular rebuilding, not symptomatic relief. Third, preserve seeds of the knowledge. If you are a gardener or farmer, you cannot grow Shilajit. Its formation timeline is measured in millions of years, but you can support those who harvest it responsibly. You can become an advocate for Himalayan mountain preservation. You can pass this knowledge to others, just as we are doing now, because knowledge, like seeds, only multiplies when shared. Fourth, recognize the economic reality. The demand for Shilajit far exceeds the supply. Global harvesters cannot keep pace with global demand. This means that authentic Shilajit will become increasingly precious, increasingly expensive, and increasingly hard to source. If cellular rejuvenation is important to you, if reversing aging at the molecular level is worth your investment, the time to begin is now, not 5 years from now, when when scarcity makes it prohibitively expensive. The mountain formed Shilajit over 50 million years. Your body will transform it into renewed health over just 90 days. That is the extraordinary power you now hold in your hands. Join the growing community of people who have chosen to rewind their biological clocks rather than simply accept aging's trajectory. The mountain's gift is waiting for you.